very excited today to be talking about one of my favourite it girls of all time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Grace Jones.
Grace was born in 1948 in Spanish Town, Jamaica. She grew up in a very religious household, which she has claimed herself was quite abusive and oppressive. When she was a teenager, Jones began to rebel and she'd run away and visit gay nightclubs with her brother and drink alcohol, and she used to take theatre classes at college, and her drama teacher asked her if she would accompany him on a summer stock tour to Philadelphia in the United States. When she got there, she kind of fully let loose. She got into like living and hanging around in hippie communes, doing LSD and working as a go-go dancer. She moved to New York at the age of 18 and signed with Wilhelmina Models, who also managed Gia Karanji, if you've heard of her, who was another famous late 70s, early 80s model. She moved to Paris in 1970, and due to her tall, slender, androgynous kind of look, she was popular amongst fashion designers. And the likes of Yves Saint Laurent hired her to do runway, and she also appeared on the covers of Elle and Vogue and other magazines. Towards the late 70s, she kind of broke into the music scene and was signed by Island Records. She became big on the disco scene, and due to her flamboyant, sexualized performances, she was a very sort of popular with the gay community. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, Grace Jones was involved in the New York art scene, and would you believe it? For our third it girl, she also was close to Andy Warhol. I'm telling you, this man just has an obsession with it girls. Wherever there's an it girl, there's an Andy Warhol. During the 1980s, she had some big hits, including Private Life, I've Seen That Face Before, Pull Up to the Bumper, and of course her famous cover of Edith Piaf's Le Vie en Rose. She also featured in several indie films, most famously in the 1985 Bond film A View to Kill. Today she's still performing her flamboyant shows, and she recently featured as guest vocals on Beyonce's 2022 Renaissance album song Move. When I was in my teens, I went through a massive 1980s phase, and I was obsessed with the music and the fashion, and I was particularly drawn to and intrigued by artists that had that androgynous edge, like Prince and David Bowie. And I love that bizarre kind of image they portrayed that wasn't quite male and it wasn't quite female, and there was just something really kind of otherworldly about it. And the androgynous look had been carried on from the 1970s, where you had the glam rock movement with like the New York Dolls, Mark Bolan wearing their high platform heels and feather boas. But I'd never really seen a woman dress in an androgynous way until I saw a picture of Miss Grace Jones. I can't remember where I was. I want to say I was in a music shop like HMV. And I think I'd seen this image before somewhere, not to quote one of her songs, but I really had seen that face before. And I remember seeing the cover of her 1981 nightclubbing album, and I just thought, that is such a powerful image. I was like, is that a man? Is that a woman? I didn't know, and I didn't care because I was just so struck by how sort of sexy and powerful this image was. I went away and I did my research, and when I came to realise that Grace Jones was in fact a woman who just adopted a very masculine style, I was like blown away. And then I started listening to her music. I just really loved how a woman could look so powerful. So that's my little story of how I came across Grace Jones. So let's talk about what style factors kind of define Grace Jones. Number one, it's very obvious, a black tailored power suit. Going back to the nightclubbing album, we can see Grace Jones has a very broad-shouldered, square, masculine black blazer on. And similarly to Bianca Jagger, who I talked about in the last video, these power suit blazers were very broad-shouldered and squared off, which again, like Bianca, really enhanced and complemented Grace's like masculine features and jawline and high cheekbones. Obviously it was the 1980s, and we know that oversized, boxy, broad-shouldered blazers were like all the rage. They were the most iconic garment of that decade. Grace Jones' suits were less sort of just oversized and baggy. They were slightly sort of tailored to her very tall frame and slender physique. For example, with the black blazer, she can be seen in a couple of her music videos with tailored cigarette trousers and heels. And I would definitely suggest having a well-tailored, well-made suit in your wardrobe because it's so versatile. You can wear it day, you can wear it at night, and you'll just look powerful and be radiating some major Grace Jones androgynous vibes. Number 2, colourful eyeshadow. I feel like one of the most iconic aspects of Grace Jones's look and aesthetic was often in her makeup. She would often be seen drawing her brows right up to give her face a really sort of snatched, stark look. And this was usually paired with some sort of purpley, bluish shades. And I think she used to wear quite a lot of pink blush to highlight and make her cheekbones pop. So I would say instead of your browns and your neutral tones and like maybe a smoky eye, experiment with some colour. You know, it doesn't have to be crazy clown makeup. I think a purple like Grace Jones can be really striking if blended into sort of a bit of a black tight liner. I think can look really good. I mention this every time, but I'm going to say it again if you've not watched any of my videos before. If you would like a place to view images of Grace Jones's outfits and especially her makeup from the 1980s, then head over to my Pinterest account, which I've linked down below. And number 3, shape. What do I mean by shape? Well, if you look at Grace Jones's aesthetic and outfits over the years, yes, they're flamboyant, yes, they're colourful and out there and bold, but I think the thing we can all appreciate is that they're almost like a modern piece of art. She always uses shape as a form of expression, whether it be through masks or sunglasses or hats. Her style has actually been described in the past as neo-cubism. Cubism is a style of art where a lot of colours and shapes were used to make up an otherwise quite simple object or image, like Picasso with his crazy fragmented faces. So how can you feature more shape in your outfits without wearing quite as extravagant and flamboyant outfits as Grace Jones? Well, I think there are very simple ways. Sunglasses, for example. You can really elevate an outfit and make it more visually interesting by adding different shaped glasses, and you might have to go through a few to see what kind of suits your face. An obvious one is the broad-shouldered blazer. It adds instant shape and dimension to your outfit. Try experimenting maybe with more A-line cut skirts or dresses. Hats, again, perfect way to create more dimension and add shape. Anything basically that challenges your body shape or enhances an aspect of your body shape. I think what we can take away from Grace Jones is you shouldn't be afraid to lean into your masculine energy and have fun experimenting with a kind of more powerful, hard, masculine side to you. Sometimes we want to dress quite soft and angelic and feminine, but other times you want to dress in a more powerful, striking way, for example by wearing a suit. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You don't have to dress like a girl or dress like a boy. You can collaborate the two, and that's what's so much fun about it. It really comes down to that kind of what it is to be an it girl. It's about being comfortable in yourself and enjoying who you are and enjoying how you look and experimenting with how you look. And I really think Grace Jones is the perfect it girl icon to aspire to when it comes to that. I feel like I've talked an unusual amount today, and I'm not looking forward to editing this. But I hope today has been helpful, and I will see you in the next video when we will be going to the 1990s. Stay true to yourself, enjoy what you wear, and I will see you next time. Ciao!